Hey, my name is Tony. You got your coffee? I sure hope so. This one's for the ladies, and you're going to want to stick around. I'm going to give you three things you need to think about as your husband gets ready to retire, or maybe you're getting ready to retire. Okay, here we go. First, I want to say is that you are the most valuable person in a man's life. That's right. Give yourself a pat on the back. You are. We value you. You carry so much in our lives, and you just get the kudos this morning. So kudos to you, women. So, anyways, I want to talk about three things that you as a woman need to think about when your husband's going into retirement, or maybe you're getting ready to retire. Maybe you're already retired and you're waiting for your husband to retire. The other demographic would be maybe you're a wife, you're a stay at home wife, and your husband's getting ready to retire. Going to be some big changes. All right, so let's go. Let's go to number one. I wrote down this morning, behind every great man is a greater woman. Ain't that the truth? That's right. You are great. You are wonderfully made, as the Bible says. You're wonderfully made, and we appreciate you so much. So, um, anyways, men find their identity in their work positions. A lot of times, it's in what we do. We find our identity in, and really, the most important voice in our life is not our work voice, but it's you. It's your voice, ladies. Your voice carries a lot of weight and a lot of weight in what we think of ourselves. Um, so nothing really matters more to me. Like, I don't care what people think about me. I don't care people's opinions about me anymore. I'm getting too old for that crap, as I like to say. But I do value what my wife thinks about me and how she values me and values what I do and who I am. So just understand that you carry a lot of weight in the relationship. You're the most important person, right? You are the most important person. Um, you hold value and power. Yes, you do. You hold value and power. Oh, yeah, there's nothing. Let me talk about the power thing for a minute. There's nothing more terrifying than the voice of my wife when she calls me by my first name, Anthony. When I hear that, I know I'm in trouble. All right, but seriously, I mean, all kidding aside, we have a great relationship, and but she does hold power and value in my life. Um, like I said, I don't really care about what people think about me, but my wife's opinion matters the most. And number two, I was going to put this as the last one because this really is the most important, is your financial security. Okay. So statistics show that men will probably pass away before you do. Your husband will probably pass away before you do. 78% of men pass away before their wives do. And that brings up a really important point because I was at my financial advisor. We'd visited my financial advisor, or our financial advisor, should I say, a couple of weeks ago, and he said, Tony, he said, we like you, but we like your wife more, and we want to make sure that she's taken care of if something happens to you. So those are things that you need to think about and discuss with your husband, and just sit down and have an honest discussion. Hey, what happens if you pass away before I do? Do we have our ducks in a row, so to say? Um, because let's talk about Social Security, since Social Security is probably the biggest portion of most retirees' income. And for the man, if he's carried the job burden most of his life, um, he's going to take the larger amount of Social Security. So let's just use an example of, uh, let's say when I retire, I'm going to take $2,200. I think that's about the average. And my wife's going to take half of that because she's been a stay-at-home wife for the last 5 years. Now, she did have a cleaning business for a few years back before COVID hit, and she made pretty good money doing that. and that was an addition to our income, but it didn't really add up to being enough for her to claim her own. So she's going to get half of what I get. So let's just say I'm getting 2,200. She's going to get about $1,100. Okay. So you put those two together and you come up with $3,300 a month. All right. Now that's a good amount. That's what most people, that's the bulk of their retirement income is going to be their Social Security. So what you need to think about, ladies, is what happens if your husband passes away, because what will happen is you'll take the larger amount, which will probably be his. So let's say you're going to take the $2,200. Well, you're going to lose the $1,100 that you were bringing in. So you're going to lose $1,100 of income. And that's a big chunk. So you need to think ahead and what you're going to do, how Social Security is going to work for you, and talk to a financial advisor. I highly recommend getting a financial advisor, talking to them and sitting down and having an honest discussion about your finances. You know, a financial advisor is like a doctor for your finances. And we did this about 8 years ago. We sat down with a financial advisor to kind of get a pulse on our finances. But that's something that you need to discuss with your husband, because you are the most important person. You know, when he passes away and you're by yourself, we want to make sure you're taken care of. We really do. We love and value you. So just those are just some things that you should discuss with. Also a budget. How about doing a budget together? Do you have a budget right now? I'm going to do a video shortly on doing a zero-based budget. But if you don't have a budget going into retirement, then how do you know what your bills and what your spending is going to be? So I would also, the second most important thing behind Social Security is developing a budget. And then after you do your budget, then going to see a financial advisor. My story is I'm going to be retiring at the end of 2027. So I have another year to go, year and a half to go. We've had a budget in place for at least the last 10 years that I can think of. And it really helps to put your income amount in at the top and just start deducting all your bills, and then until you get down to zero. So that means spending every dollar that comes in. You spend it on paper first so that you know where your money's going. Okay, number 3, elbow room. All right, we all need it. We're all going to need it, and your husband's going to need it, as you are going to need it. Okay, a little bit about my story is I work 2 days at home a week. I telework 2 days, and so I'm home a little more than most people that probably have a full-time job. We noticed some things about that. Number one is she doesn't have the free time around the house like she did when I'm at home. Okay. Uh, so she's going to need some elbow room. You're going to need some elbow room. Your husband's going to need some elbow room going into retirement. And that's okay. I've talked to several people that are already retired, and I say, what does your day look like? And one of them says, well, we get up in the morning, we make our coffee together, we have our cup of coffee. He says, and then most of the time I'm an early riser, so I go out to the pole barn and I do my little tinkering around. And then if it's summertime, I'll go play golf, and then maybe have a coffee with my golf buddies afterwards. And these are things that I do too. My wife, he said, she'll get up and she'll get ready, and then she'll go out and have coffee with her friends, or maybe she'll do some shopping. Uh, and then what we do is about 2 or 3 o'clock, we come back together and we talk about what we're going to eat that night. We make our meal, and then we spend the rest of the evening together. But you're going to need that elbow room, and so is your spouse. Your spouse is going to need the elbow room of just being an individual, because we all are individuals too, Um, and so those things are really important. So what will that home life look like when it's 24/7? Okay, kind of, you got to mentally prepare yourself for that, because you can get on each other's nerves. Believe me, since I've been home teleworking 2 days a week, you start to notice things about your mate. You start to notice those little annoyances that didn't bother you so much, when you weren't there all the time. But they become those little habits that just drive you nuts, and you got to really learn to overlook those things. But anyways, this was a short video. Ladies, again, you're the most valuable person in our relationship, and we want to make sure that you're taken care of. I got a video I'll post at the end for the men. It's how to take care of your wife in retirement. Pass that on to him. It's a good video to watch. But until then, please subscribe and like my channel. Send me a comment. Let me know what you're doing in retirement, if you're already retired, or maybe you're waiting for your husband to retire. I would really just love to hear from you and hear what your input and your thoughts are. So until then, God bless you.